Okay, everybody, let's get rolling. Welcome to the North Coast Connector Mayor Bibb's Town Hall meeting. Round of applause, woohoo! My name is Marie Keister, and I'm part of the North Coast Connector project team, and we're just so delighted to see this full room tonight. We're very excited you're here and very excited to take a vision to reality. And that's what this evening is all about. So what are we going to do tonight? We're going to connect, right? We're all connecting together, and we're going to connect to Cleveland's North Coast. We are also going to learn a little history. We're going to hear about over 100 years of how we got to where we are today. And then after we cover the history, we're going to talk some more about the vision and the challenge, because we have a little bit of an engineering challenge to get through, but that's why you're here tonight. And we're going to ask you to imagine, what should the North Coast Connector look like? What should it connect to? How would you like to experience the North Coast in the future? So we will have many opportunities to hear your ideas at your table, and we're going to have a lot of great discussion, and then we'll report out at the end of the evening. My job is to make sure I get you out on time. So when you do that table discussion, I will be doing some reminders just to keep you on track so that we can hear everything you have to say. I want to thank the table captains and our volunteers who are here this evening. They very graciously are here enthusiastically to help you keep on track and answer your questions. So I know you'll get to know everybody at your table, but a special nod to our table captains and volunteers tonight. So to get us rolling, I got some questions. So I'm going to ask how you got here tonight, and I want you to raise your hand when I hit how you got here. All right, who drove a vehicle tonight? Okay, a lot of drivers. Who got here by Uber, Lyft, taxi? Okay, I see a couple. Anybody carpool? All right, let's hear for the carpoolers. Anybody walk? All right, love the walkers. Ride a bike? Sweet. Anybody ride a scooter or an e-bike? And if you already raised your hand with a bike, you can raise your hand again. Okay. Anybody ride a bus or take the train? Sweet. How many did a combination? Didn't everybody start with a walk to get to their car, right? Okay. And is there anything else? Ride a yak? Ride a canoe? Okay. So 2 more questions. And this gets to the heart of your discussion this evening. And that is, when you come downtown, do you ever go to the lake? If so, raise your hand. Okay, a lot of you go to the lake. Would you like to have a way to walk and ride your bike more safely to the lake? I see some nods. Okay. But to share the vision first, it is my privilege and honor to introduce Mayor Justin Bibb.
I like walking around and talking, you know. I'm just so excited to see the rotunda filled with folks excited to help us truly execute a brand new, bold vision for what I'm calling not just Cleveland's North Coast, but America's North Coast right here in Cleveland, Ohio. You know, for a long time, our lakefront has been a dividing line in our city. East side, west side, black, white. And I truly believe that as we write this next chapter in Cleveland's story for our lakefront, we have an historic opportunity to finally get it right. But it starts with each and every one of you, because if this process is not rooted in your voice, your ideas, your concerns, and your vision, it won't work. It won't work. And so we're kicking off this first town hall right here in the People's House, City Hall. We'll be going all across the city over the next couple of weeks to make sure we get as much input as we can. but we've already been building a strong foundation to execute our vision for the lakefront. First, we have engaged many different partners across the entire span of city government, from city planning to building and housing to economic and community development. The entire enterprise of City Hall is focused on this effort. Secondly, we've engaged a wide array of community organizations and key stakeholders to be a part of this important process as well too. And the third thing that's unique is that for the first time in a long time, we have leaders in DC and money in DC to take advantage of to make sure we can execute our big, bold vision for America's North Coast. But it starts with conversations like this one this evening. So again, on behalf of the great city of Cleveland, Ohio, I want to thank you for coming. Thank you for taking precious time out of your day to give your ideas and feedback. And I'm looking forward to the long, long road ahead. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. So I also want to thank you, Mayor Bibb, for your vision. And I want to thank Aaron, our interpreter today. So thank you, Aaron. And we also have Patty, who is assisting us today. So we appreciate your assistance. A couple of other housekeeping items. We have restrooms, women there, men's on that side. The exits are straight back, and there's also an exit through the garage here as well. So I'd also like to call up our Chief of Strategy, Brad Davey, and I'm going to run your slides for you, and it's up to you if you want the mic or the podium.
Hey, neighbors. How's everybody doing? First, thank you, Marie. Thank you, Mayor, for gathering us here today. We're here to do something exciting that has been done before, right? To dream the dreams of really fulfilling our city's promise of connecting our communities to the lakefront. But it's important to first just take a quick look back on our history, on the plans and the actions that got us here tonight. So let's take a look back. This really started in the 1800s, a long time ago. The Great Divide between downtown Cleveland and the lakefront started in the mid-1800s when we maybe unintentionally constructed railways in between our city and our waterfront. So ever since, we've been sort of trying to grapple with figuring out this conundrum. Then if we jump forward about 50 years, the original plans for Cleveland civic buildings and the malls were created by, of course, the famous architect Daniel Burnham. And those proposed malls that extended the large open green space from Public Square to the shoreline. This should sound familiar to you. It is something that we will contemplate in just a short while. Then in the 1930s, the opening of the original municipal stadium on the lakefront, where there was areas for the Great Lakes Exposition. I'm sure you've seen those images and those pictures. They included a pedestrian bridge, something else that we'll talk about today, that extended from downtown over the rail lines, these caps that we'll spend some time grappling with this evening. And the first leg of the Shoreway, which, you know, of course, is part of the conversation tonight. We move forward to the 1940s, where highway expansion continued through downtown Cleveland to the Main Avenue Bridge. It continued to connect downtown Cleveland across the Cuyahoga River. The shore was extended east to west to meet the bridge. And at this point, we now have railroads and freeways that separate us from our waterways. The city also conducted its first lakefront plan from Edgewater to Gordon Park in this era, and that's where we started to think about what a pedestrian bridge might look like over the freeways and the tracks. Move ahead again to the 1980s, where there was a series of studies, one specifically focused on public space in the current project area that we'll discuss tonight. This citywide vision was called the Civic Vision Plan, and it proposed concentrations between Mall C and the lakefront. The 90s. NorthCoast Harbor Inc. was created and was established to plan lakefront attraction and really realize this civic vision that was to be met in the 2000, which also included a pedestrian bridge. We're talking about a pedestrian bridge for a long time, y'all. And then we move into the 2000s. In the early 2000s, there was yet another series of plans focused on softening the impacts of the shoreway, increasing the connections of nearby neighborhoods, and enhancing the waterfront. Both the 2004 and the 2011 plan included a pedestrian bridge, and at this point, the city began seeking funding to make the connection happen. And then, of course, the 2010s. The 2010s, the city and the county collaborated on the Rosales Bridge concept. The city decided not to pursue this concept. The construction costs were just too high, and the desire to create greater opportunities for development in the project area softened the resolve. And then the city did not, although the city did not build that bridge, we did construct the Rosales pedestrian bridge on the west side. That's in Whiskey Island that you may have visited recently. And then let's talk about now. Where are we today? In 2019, I know many of you may have been a part of this, the Green Ribbon Coalition took up this cause. They proceeded to propose land bridge concepts for achieving the ultimate goal of merging our lakefront with our downtown. And in 2021, the Haslam Sports Group came out with a concept that spurred civic interest and really explored the ways that we can meet the lakefront. As the mayor mentioned, reconnecting Cleveland to the lakefront is a top priority for this administration. The impetus for this project is now to fully and finally realize all of these visions and collect our downtown to our lakefront, open up more land, more equitable opportunity, and more ways to access our water, not just downtown, but also throughout our neighborhoods. There's many, many ways that we can achieve this goal, but we most certainly need your help and your thoughts in how to do it. We look forward to engage with you over the next couple hours to hear your best-in-class responses and your ideas on how we can do better. But before we do that, I just want to thank, on behalf of the mayor, on behalf of the administration, all of the work that went into making this happen. Many of you have been working on this for years, and I specifically want to thank some of our local partners, the Ohio Department of Transportation, NOACA, and the Greater Cleveland Partnership for your commitment and your support. We look forward to engage over the next couple of hours. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to move from vision to reality. And if you gentlemen want to take a seat, and that way you don't have to crane your necks to look at the slides. So, what the heck is a land bridge? We keep using that term, and it's terminology that is also referred to as a cap or a lid over a freeway or a roadway. And so a cap doesn't quite capture what we're talking about here. A land bridge really communicates that it's more than just one strip that's just over a highway. So in the case of St. Louis, for example, it's still a bridge. It's still got steel and concrete and has to meet all of the regulations to meet safety and engineering requirements from a state and federal perspective. But what goes on top of it is really driven by community input. And that's where you come in. In St. Louis, this bridge is over I-44, a major freeway. But you see there's pedestrian walkways, there's a place you can bike, a place you can gather, and this is located right by the St. Louis Arch. In Dallas, Texas, we have the Clyde Warren Park, and their vision is even bigger than St. Louis. It's many land bridges, it's quite a span, and several parks that are connected together. And if you look in the middle of the screen, you can see there's a tunnel underneath that land bridge. So again, that just gives you a little bit of orientation of what we're talking about here. But as we talk about the vision and the challenge, I would like to invite Vicki Wildeman from Osborne. They are the consultant project management team, and Vicki is our consultant project manager.
We're going to show you a short video that highlights some of the engineering challenges that we face in building a land bridge. This video begins at Mall C, looks at Mall B, and then at the end to the fountain on Mall A. So for those of you who aren't really sure where Mall B is, remember a few years ago when a certain basketball team won a championship and came back to town for a parade down East 9th? That parade ended at a stage where they all congratulated each other and they had speeches, and that stage was on Mall B. So let's start the video. As our view moves towards the fountain and then back to Mall C, we come upon the edge of the bluff overlooking the lakefront. As we move towards the lakefront, we see our bridge needs to span both the rail lines and the shoreway. To meet criteria, the bottom of our land bridge needs to be 23.5 feet above the rail lines and 16.5 feet above the shoreway pavement. As we slope down towards the lakefront, we also need to keep the bridge at a relatively flat slope to make sure we meet ADA requirements. To give you an idea of how much lower the lakefront is from Mall C, the elevation difference from the mall to the top of the Great Lakes Science Center parking garage, where you see the sidewalk running towards the lake, is 65 feet. As we end the video, you can see the open area north of the Science Center and the stadium that are just waiting for something to happen. So, with that. All right, so what we're presenting to you tonight is a series of buckets. As part of our study, we're looking at 4 general concept buckets to overcome those engineering challenges I talked about and achieve the connections that we want. The study will help us understand which concepts are most feasible to build, and we'll look at a variety of impacts that include traffic operations, utilities, environmental issues, and costs. At this point, the concepts are simply that, concepts. The design team needs to test these different concepts to see if they can physically be done. In other words, what is possible? There's a technical side to construction projects, but as you saw, how different the land bridges and caps were, these priorities express our community's values and priorities. We are including you in this early phase so that you can provide input that will guide the design of the NorthCoast connector. So, with bucket A, this proposes keeping everything as it is today. We wouldn't build a land bridge, and we would keep the shoreway exactly as it is. In bucket A, the traffic moves and the land use essentially stays the same. The options you have to reach the lakefront from the downtown as a pedestrian or bicyclist are the sidewalks along West 3rd and East 9th Street. The shoreway is a high-speed highway, which is designed to move traffic through areas quickly. They are not designed to help traffic reach destinations within a specific area. They are limited access, meaning things like traffic signals and crosswalks are not permitted. You can't put in new uses like parks or buildings next to highways and connect them with driveways. Bucket B would build the land bridge over the railroad tracks and the existing shoreway. And it could be in various shapes and positions and sizes, as you can see on this map, but generally it would be in the area highlighted. The traffic stays the same, but there is more land available on the land bridge for more uses. In bucket B, the options that you have to reach the lakefront have increased now from West 3rd and East 9th Street, and now the connector. The land bridge itself provides more land for more uses. The shoreway stays the same, so there's no difference from bucket A. Bucket C. It includes a land bridge over the railroad tracks. However, the shoreway now becomes a boulevard. In the handouts on your table, you will see pictures of boulevards that we have throughout the city. Again, the land bridge could be in various shapes or positions, but generally it's in this area. Traffic moves very differently, and there is more land available for more uses. In bucket C, the options that you have to reach this downtown and the lakefront are the same as bucket B. The land bridge itself provides more land for more uses, and since there's no highway in this section, there's more land available for land uses, as a boulevard has a smaller footprint. The land next to the boulevard becomes more attractive for more uses because you can add driveways to them. And with the removal of the shoreway, Bucket C includes a road specifically for port traffic. So the heavy trucks that carry materials to and from the port that now travel on the shoreway are separated and are on a separate road themselves. And lastly, Bucket D includes a land bridge over the railroad tracks, but in this bucket, the shoreway is removed completely between the Main Avenue Bridge and East 9th Street, and there is no boulevard. Again, the land bridge could be in any various shape, size, or position, but again, it'd be in this area. In this bucket, the traffic behaves very differently, and of all the buckets, this has the most land available for the most uses because the shoreway is gone. However, you reach the lakefront the same way you did as in Bucket C. The land bridge, again, provides more land for more uses, and there's more area because the boulevard and the shoreway are gone. However, since there is no longer a direct east-west connection through this area, traffic heading through downtown would need to use the city streets and get on and off at East 9th Street. And also in this one, we still have that dedicated port road. So with that, I'll turn it over to Marie. Thank you.
Okay, so quick test. What's the difference between all the buckets? You look at me with fear. The good news is you're going to have a chance to dive in at your table now and talk about it and look at exhibits that will show you right in front of you what the differences of those buckets are. So now you get to the fun stuff. We would like you to work with your table captains. They'll lead you through the discussions in Section B on your workbook, and in about 45 minutes, I'm going to ask you to report out. The table captains know to tell you what to do. Every now and then, I'm going to make an announcement just to help keep us all on time, and I'll let you know when you should wrap up your conversation. So with that, let the discussion begin.
Well, for starters, can you grab that one, and then can you just put them all together and hand them to me? All over the existing highway. That's why strengths and weaknesses. Any other? So this is land bridge over the council. Right? We talked about A. A was keeping everything the same. So getting from down up to 6 where the land is.
A lot of deep conversation, some lively conversations. So to join me and listen in on what you had to say at your tables, we did a little swap for you, and I'm introducing now Chief Jeff Epstein, Chief of Integrated Development. There we go. And then we have Chief Davey back to listen in as well. All right, so bear with me a second. Okay, so first, I'm going to ask for a show of hands. Oh, let's just skip right to it. Okay, so let's have a show of hands. If at your table you had consensus around bucket A, that was a favorite. Okay. All right, how about bucket B? Was there a consensus at your table for bucket B? All right, I see some of those hands raised, and bucket B is build the land bridge, but keep the shoreway as it is, right? Okay, bucket C was build the land bridge, but change the shoreway to a boulevard. Who had consensus around that? All right. Bucket D was to build the land bridge and change the shoreway operation so much that actually segments of it go away. Who had consensus around bucket D? Oh, we have a few of those. All right, raise your hand if your table was really undecided about one over another, but just kind of settled on a couple of them, mushing them together. All right, you want to know what? You're futurists, because once we analyze your input and the engineers do some more work, it's very likely that the next time we invite you back, it will be a mix of different things. So our futurists there may have predicted what's going to happen next. All right, now I want to hear from your tables some of the big takeaways that you had. And I'm going to call on our table captains to share some of that information. And I'm going to start with these tables right in the middle. So raise your hand in the middle. I've got Mitch right here who, all right, he's going to start right here at this table. And if you could stand and say your name and tell us, what was a big takeaway at your table?
My name is Faith Washington Sims, and I'm the table captain for table 3. And one of the biggest takeaways is interesting. We started off totally divided, but which was a good thing, I thought. And because we had Pro D, Pro A, and then someone in the middle, which was me, because I'm a commuter as well, and I work downtown. So one of our biggest concerns was equity. One of the things I mentioned was the Bracknell area took the water away from the kids in the St. Clair area, and that was a major concern for us, that equity was at the forefront of all of these decisions. So once we started from D and worked our way backwards. So once we got to the point of B, the three of us discovered that B works best because it ensures that the commuters still have a way to get to and from downtown. They also have an option. If 90 is backed up, oh, I'll take the shoreway. Or if the shoreway is backed up, oh, let me hop on 90. But then also, you still get that access, that equitable access to the lakefront. We just want to make sure that there's something to do once you get there and something free to, again, ensure equity.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Round of applause. All right. One parting thought.
One more thing also, and then we have an artist at our table, Mary Kay Thomas, and she has this beautiful work of art that I know she's already shared with WKYC, but she will probably want to share it with the team because it marries exactly what we talked about, because what we're looking to see is access above and below at the same time.
Awesome. We'll look forward to seeing your artwork. Okay, Mitch, let's go down to our next table. Pamela, I know you had a great conversation going on. Tell us some big takeaway, one nugget.
Hi, my name is Pamela Stevenson. We're here at table 6.
And if you could hold the mic a little closer.
My name is Pamela Stevenson.
There we go.
We're at table 6 here. We had a great conversation. First of all, a diversity of people here. We had one guy that worked on boats, another guy who did tow bridging. So that gave us a good conversation. And so we were looking at B. B was good for us. We went through C and D, but we brought everything to B. Even though we want to incorporate C and D with B, but B was our biggest thing. We felt that B was more feasible because there was less involved. So if you take C and D and look at the Newport Road, they would like to have it incorporated in there. And the one guy that was really on it was the tow guy, because he talked about the trucks. He talked about how many trucks are tied up without this, and that it would give us, more access. The traffic would move, the trucks would be able to move, and everything would go in place. So that's where we were with B.
Love it. Okay, a round of applause. All right, Pamela, table 6. Let's move over to table 7. Oh, wait, no, let's go. Yep, table 7's ready. I'm working my way back to you. You got it? Okay.
I thought you were going to grab him. Okay. Khalid Hawthorne with table 7, and most of our conversations centered around connectivity and multimodal connectivity. We quickly eliminated option A. It's the cheapest option, but that's the only pro we could come up with that. And so we really rallied around C and D and had deep discussion around both of those. Again, balancing out existing traffic concerns, network connectivity of the street grid, and making sure that yes, we have the land connections, but then what does it actually look like? And then we got into the details of what a boulevard potentially look like. Is it a parkway? Is it green? Is it more greenery? Is it more apartment buildings? I was leaning more towards that. I work in development with Famicos, so. But yeah, so good discussion. We ended up splitting our table as far as C and D, but like I said, focusing on that balance of connectivity between the different uses.
Thank you. Let's hear it for table, let's see, it's at table 7. All right, and just so you know, we're going to work our way back through the center of the room, and then we'll see how our time goes on how much we can bring in the other tables as well. Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole Calhoun, and I am the table lead for 10. We are a fantastic table. Okay, I just want to let
let's
you
hear
know.
it for table 10.
These are some wonderful people. Most of our comments centered around C, which is creating a boulevard. There's a lot of great minds here. Possibilities of activating for mixed use, development, hotels, actually integrating the shoreway into a boulevard so that it's pedestrian friendly, multimodal. We also had concentration on programming. So what would actually go there? A couple of people, okay, I did say we could do something like an Eiffel Tower where you can have some type of sight lines. So of course not too high because we know the airport is there. That was a big takeaway for here. But for the most part, should I say your comment? Okay, he gave me permission to say his comment. One thing that really stood out at this table was maybe a reimagining of the stadium. And someone said, if you like it, you should have put a roof on it. So I promised I would report back what the table said. So, but table 10 really supported C.
Awesome. Thank you, table 10. All right, come on, round of applause, round of applause. Okay, so go ahead, Mitch, pick someone right there.
Thanks. Hi, my name's Abby, and my friends here at table 15 leaned pretty heavily towards bucket C with a couple caveats that I would like to share. Number one was that new room for development on the lakefront needs to be balanced with some kind of accountability structure so that our corporations and businesses are not taking over the lakefront in a way that they are not being good citizens of the lake. Number two was that the necessary transit routes that go through downtown, it would be well balanced and it would make downtown a place to be, not a place that you drive through, while also keeping that structure to keep people moving throughout downtown. And our last point was that we have a lot of downtown residents at this table who emphasized the need for traffic calming and noise/speed enforcement if this were to become a boulevard. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you.
Hello, my name is Tom, and I'm representing table 18 here. So here at table 18, we all agreed that this space here on the downtown lakefront is underused. It's such valuable and accessible property. We all agree with the development of a land bridge. However, we found ourselves in between buckets B and C. Our concerns were mainly about the safety revolving the change in transportation, as well as the accessibility of changing the shoreway and removing it entirely. So we were worried about the safety concerns of changing to a boulevard with changing speed limits and safety concerns in that area. However, we're also concerned about removing the shoreway entirely due to transportation needed throughout the city.
Awesome. Thank you, Table 18. So let's see a show of hands. Any table captains around this area to the left? Can I see any hands up who wants to? Okay, back in that back corner, Mitch. They're ready to share their thoughts.
So we are table 20, and our table was mostly in between the options C and D. We were mostly pedestrian focused rather than car transportation focused. And our main holdup was where does the land bridge go? So a land bridge to where was kind of our table motto, because clarifying that was really a key point to deciding which option we should pick for people at the table. So, you know, thinking of ideas about equity and access and democratized programming when it comes to actually getting input from people who will be living around the space and utilizing it when it comes to what events do we put there, or just what is the use of the land, you know, once you bridge the divide and get to the other side. And we also did have traffic concerns. So does the boulevard actually look and work like a functioning boulevard? Is it kind of a winding, you know, road around the shoreway, or is it just the same straight shot that it is right now, but the speed limit is dropped? And will people, you know, respect that? Will they respect if people want to, you know, be around that area? And is pedestrian safety something that's being kept in mind? So just lots of different questions, lots of really different, you know, interesting points in our conversation. But I think definitely we were pro land bridge. So everyone is in favor of that idea. It's just a matter of how do we pull it off and what does it look like when we get there.
Awesome. Round of applause for table, I think that's 20. All right. So, chiefs, you've heard this input. I saw some of you sitting at tables too, kind of meandering around and listening. What are your impressions based on what you're hearing tonight?
So first of all, I just want to thank everybody for coming out and spending their evening with us. And I had a chance to kind of walk around and listen to some of the conversations and appreciate the robust input. You know, I took away a couple things. One, you know, I saw in the room tonight a clear desire to do something different from what we have, and I think that's affirming for the work that we at City Hall and our many team members have been doing to try to evaluate these options. And the second, I think, it reaffirms why we're doing this tonight. You know, the need to weigh a lot of complex factors and to get your all continued engagement to help us figure out how to get the right balance in the solution. So I was just taking notes on some of the factors I heard as the tables were going around: equity, development, land use, pedestrians, commuters, programming, art, trucks, the stadium, accountability for corporates, public transit, noise, downtown residents, safety for traffic, accessibility. It's a lot of stuff to balance. And I think, you know, my ask to all of you is to kind of continue to stay close to this project, continue to engage. We're going to take all of this and kind of try to weigh it as we refine and try to get some options that present some balancing of all those considerations in a way that hopefully best meets the needs of our community.
Yeah, thanks. And I know statements like this can sometimes feel maybe obligatory, but they're not. I speak on behalf of all. Yeah, can you hear me? Great. I speak on behalf of all City Hall employees. It is an incredibly invigorating experience to engage with so many residents and friends and neighbors in a place that is absolutely yours. And to share it and examine these problems is a real honor, so thanks. I think there's a few things I want to make sure that you walk away you know, feeling good about. One is some of the concerns that you described related to traffic are currently being analyzed, right? So as we think about what these options actually mean for traffic on, you know, the city grid or maybe continuing, there is some analysis that's going into these conversations that can give us a deeper and clearer picture of what these changes will mean for the lived experience of residents and then commuters and passersby. So know that is going on simultaneously. Two, I heard a lot about this idea that we are going to have to really think about the uses of this space, right? And we have to really weigh what will draw people down to the lake to come visit, and that will keep them engaged 365 days a year, not just during game day, right? So is it the art that's going to drive folks down here? Is it touching the water? Is it the canoes and the kayaks? What can we do to really engage people, to keep folks there, and make it something that you commute to? And then I heard a few rumblings, the Browns Stadium, maybe a hot take, but I also heard some things about Burke Airport, and no, if you saw the news today, an RFP about Burke Lakefront and what a future use of that could mean. So we're thinking about this holistically, and I think from Jeff and I's perspective, it's reaffirmed, and we're encouraged. I would have been super bummed out if y'all were like, nah, like, you're good, just pack it up. So we're excited to continue and engage. Please continue to advocate. Our doors are open, our phones are open. Continue to push us, and we will try to meet the call. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your perspectives and your hot takes. I liked how you said that. And so before you leave tonight, please make sure you fill out your worksheet and make sure you fill out sections A and C, please. Also jot your notes around B, but A and C, that will help us make sure that we're getting good representation, and it will let us know if we need to go seek some others out, which we intend to do, because not everybody will come to a meeting. We're going to go to them. So behind me, you see a series of additional public meetings we'll be having. So please tell your friends, your family, your visitors, everybody's welcome to come and add their voice to this conversation. What we will be doing is we are going to be collecting all of this information. We will be summarizing it. There will be a meeting summary tonight. And then once all the meetings are done, we'll do more of a high-level summary. Those will be posted on clevelandnorthcoast.com, which I believe is coming up on the next slide. So that website is getting populated on a regular basis. In the next few days, we will get all the materials on the website that you've seen here tonight. I want to thank you one more time. We appreciate your time. We appreciate the city being the gracious host here in the Rotunda. And everyone, please drive safely, walk safely. We want you to travel safely and get home to your loved ones tonight. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.